Well, we're going to have some analysis now from one of the busiest people at CBS News, and that's our State Department correspondent, Margaret Brennan, who is logging more miles than an airline captain these days. She's just back, got in, what, about 11 or 12 o'clock last night?
Landed a little after midnight with Secretary Kerry last night.
So, Margaret, what is the Secretary's mood right now? Where does he think we are on any of this?
Well, the Secretary left the Middle East with no firm ceasefire agreement in hand, but the hope that you could see short-term rolling ceasefires that could ultimately end up with both sides stopping from killing each other long enough to agree that maybe it's worth talking. But it's not clear really what was agreed, and that's going to be played out on the ground. But what we do see, and what Kerry's message to the Israeli Prime Minister really was, is that you may be winning the war against Hamas, but more broadly, you're losing the war in Gaza, which is Palestinians are watching fellow Palestinians get killed. You saw massive protests in the West Bank while we were there in the Middle East, that there's outcry around the Arab world, and that vote at the UN was not insignificant. The United States was the only country that stood with Israel and said they don't want to see an inquiry of these accusations of human rights abuses. So for them, for the United States, they're saying, look beyond this immediate conflict. We need to talk and have negotiations about a broader settlement here that addresses some of the real security issues longer term.
And what about Putin? What's the latest news on that? Do we think we're anywhere close to even getting his attention?
Well, it's been costly for him to do what he's doing, but it certainly hasn't stopped him from carrying out and helping to buttress some of those Russian troops they have at the Ukrainian border. The State Department just this morning released some of these images of what they say is proof that Russian artillery has been helping and firing and supplementing some of those separatists cross border, which is to say this isn't just Russia backing the separatists, this is Russia fighting for the separatists. So it's really not clear. I mean, the strategy doesn't seem to have changed. It's just about sanctions right now. It's about punitive rather than preventative measures, and the Europeans are very slow to react.
And what about the situation in Tripoli, in Libya? We did get the diplomats out of there.
Yes.
Is there anything we don't know about that? Anything, a backstory here?
Well, there's a lot of concern in the region. This is one of the things that Secretary Kerry was talking about in Cairo with Egyptian officials, is they're looking next door to Libya and very concerned about the terror threat emanating from there and that country really being on the brink of civil war. The administration is very sensitive, of course, to the security of diplomats in Libya, particularly after what happened in Benghazi with the attack on the U.S. diplomatic mission there. So while they said there's no direct threat against diplomatic personnel or the embassy, they got the diplomats out because they see these militias finding very close proximity to the U.S. embassy itself. When they're going back is totally unclear.
All right, well, we're going to let you go home. You might want to take a nap this afternoon because I know you're going to be on the road again pretty soon.
No doubt.
Thank you very much, Margaret. We'll be back to talk about Campaign 2014. We'll take our first look at that in a minute.